It was a quiet night in the small human colony called New Dawn, built on the edge of explored space. The streets were empty. The wind carried a faint metallic hum from the colony's power grid, and far above 2 pale moons hung in the sky like watchful eyes. Ethan Cole, a 32-year-old mechanic, walked home after a long shift at the repair docks. His hands were greasy, his uniform torn at the sleeves, and his face carried the tired calm of a man who worked too much but complained too little. Every night. Before heading home, Ethan stopped by the alley behind his workshop. There, among old crates and dim lights, a group of stray animals waited for him. Cats, dogs, and a few small, furred creatures that weren't quite from Earth. No one knew how those alien animals had ended up on this colony, but Ethan didn't care. He just couldn't walk past something hungry. He crouched down, opened his small food bag, and began sharing leftovers. "Easy there," he whispered as a thin cat hissed playfully. "There's enough for everyone." The animals trusted him. They always had. To most people in New Dawn, Ethan was quiet, kind, and maybe a little strange. A man who fixed ships but cared more about lost animals than about politics or fame. But tonight felt different. The air was too still. The usual hum of colony traffic was gone. Even the stars seemed sharper, colder. As Ethan placed down the last piece of bread, something moved in the shadows beyond the alley. A soft, broken sound, a whimper, not from a cat or dog. He froze and turned slowly. There, half hidden behind a broken metal crate, was a creature. Small, thin, trembling. Its skin shimmered faintly under the pale light, shifting between shades of gray and blue. Its body looked fragile, almost skeletal, and a deep wound glowed dimly on its side. Ethan's first thought was, "It's not human." His second was, "It's dying." He took one cautious step forward. The creature flinched, pressing itself against the wall, shaking in fear. "It's okay," Ethan said softly. "I'm not going to hurt you." No response. "Only heavy breathing. I'm wet and weak." He noticed the creature's hands, long fingers, sharp nails, and the faint flicker of light running along its veins. Something biological, but also not. From the corner of his eye, Ethan saw movement at the street corner. 2 colonists looked down the alley, saw the creature, and quickly walked away, whispering. He knew what they were thinking: alien infection, quarantine breach. After the last outbreak on a nearby moon, everyone had become afraid of anything not human. Ethan sighed. He couldn't leave it there. He knelt down slowly, opened his food bag again, and placed a small piece of bread in front of it. The creature's eyes flickered open, bright blue, glowing faintly in the dark. For a second, Ethan felt a strange pull, like the creature was looking through him, not at him. "It's all right," he said again. "You're safe now." The creature hesitated. Then, trembling, it reached forward and took the bread. Its thin fingers brushed his hand. Cold. Too cold. Ethan smiled slightly. "See, not so scary." He stayed there for a moment, watching it eat slowly. Its breathing grew steadier, its glow dimmed. When it finally lifted its head, Ethan saw a strange mark on its neck, a small metallic chip embedded under the skin. He frowned. "What is that?" Before he could touch it, the night sky above shifted. A faint red light blinked far above the colony. Invisible to the human eye, a stealth drone hovering miles above focused its lens. A mechanical voice crackled inside the drone's comm system. "Subject 47 has made contact. Human empathy confirmed." Data streamed across a holographic display. Ethan's face, his name, his location, all logged and transmitted. From orbit, in the cold silence of space, a massive observation ship turned one of its cameras toward the small colony. Dozens of alien eyes, unseen, unblinking, watched as Ethan handed food to the wounded creature. But on the ground, Ethan knew none of this. He was just a tired mechanic helping something that looked lost. He picked up his bag, stood slowly, and looked around. The creature stayed close, still eating quietly. "Don't worry," Ethan said softly. "You can rest here tonight. I'll figure something out tomorrow." As he turned to leave, the creature made a faint sound, almost a word, almost a whisper. He paused, trying to understand. But then it went silent again. Ethan walked away, unaware that cameras, satellites, and drones were now all locked onto his every movement. Up above, inside the alien ship, a commander's voice echoed through a dark chamber. The test has begun. Let us see if humanity deserves to survive. And down below, under two pale moons, Ethan Cole reached home and left a trail of kindness that the galaxy would never forget. The next morning came with a cold breeze and a pale sunrise. Ethan Cole yawned as he stepped outside his small metal house, a cup of coffee in his hand. The colony was waking up. Miners walking to the docks, children running to school, the sound of machinery filling the air. But Ethan's eyes went straight to the corner near his fence, the spot where the creature had been last night. It was still there, wrapped in an old blanket he had left. It slept quietly beside the feeding bowl. The faint blue light under its skin pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. He felt a strange relief. It survived. "Morning, little one," Ethan whispered. He wasn't sure why he said it. The thing wasn't human. It wasn't even close. But something about it made him feel responsible. He placed a small bowl of warm soup near it and went back inside. But when he turned again, the creature was awake, staring at him. Its glowing blue eyes watched his every move. No fear this time, just curiosity. Ethan sat down carefully, keeping distance. "You're looking better today." The creature blinked slowly, then tilted its head. Its voice, soft and broken, came out like static through water. "Ethan," he froze. The cup almost slipped from his hand. "What did you just say?" The creature trembled like it was struggling to speak again. "Ethan Cole." Ethan's heart pounded. It knew his name. He hadn't told it. No one else was around, so how? "Who told you that?" he asked quietly. "How do you—" The creature shook its head weakly. "They told me." "Who's they?" It didn't answer. Instead, it pressed one hand against its wounded side, breathing hard. The blue glow from its skin flickered faster. Ethan leaned forward. "You need rest. Don't talk. You're hurt," but the creature whispered again. "No time." Watch, that word sent a chill down his spine. Watch? He remembered the red light in the sky last night. Just for a second, he'd thought it was a drone or maybe a satellite. But what if it wasn't? He looked up instinctively toward the bright morning sky. Somewhere above, invisible and silent, an alien drone still hovered, its lens fixed on him. Later that day, Ethan went to his workshop at the docks. The colony was busy as usual, but people seemed uneasy. The radio network kept cutting off. The main communication tower was down again, or so they said. Inside the workshop, Ethan's friend Riley Tan, a fellow engineer, was checking fuel lines. "You heard the news?" Riley asked. Ethan shook his head. "No, what news?" "Another blackout on the East Ridge. Power grid's unstable. Command says it's a solar flare, but—" He lowered his voice. "Feels wrong, man. Too many accidents lately." Ethan nodded slowly, pretending to agree, but his thoughts were far away, back at his house, with that strange being waiting for him. "Anyway," Riley sighed, "I'm heading to the comms station after shift. We need backup power or we're blind up here." Ethan forced a smile. "Good idea. I'll check the generators first," but inside he was distracted. "They watch." The creature's words repeated in his head all day. That night after work, Ethan returned home quickly. The sky was darker than usual. The colony's outer lights flickered. Something about the air felt heavy, like a storm was coming even though no clouds were there. When he opened his door, the creature was sitting upright now. It had made a small nest near the wall using blankets and tools. Ethan dropped his bag and walked closer. "You're healing fast." The creature nodded slowly. "Your world helps." "My world?" Ethan frowned. "You mean Earth?" The creature hesitated. "This world, full of sound, full of feeling, not like theirs." "Whose world?" Ethan pressed. "The Watchers," it whispered. "They test. They choose. They destroy." Ethan's stomach tightened. "Destroy? Who do they destroy?" The creature turned its glowing eyes toward him. "Those without empathy." He stared at it. "What does that mean?" It reached out a thin arm and touched his wrist. "You helped me. You fed me. They saw." Ethan's mouth went dry. "Who saw?" "They," the creature said again. "From above." Before he could ask more, the lights in his house flickered, once, twice, then went out completely. Darkness swallowed everything. Outside, the wind rose sharply. He heard shouts from nearby houses. Someone yelled that all power across the colony was down. Then, in silence, Ethan grabbed his flashlight and looked back at the creature. Its body was glowing brighter now, almost like it was reacting to something unseen. "What's happening?" Ethan asked. The creature's voice trembled. "They are coming." Far above, in orbit, a vast alien ship stirred in the shadows. Dozens of observation drones turned toward New Dawn Colony. The same mechanical voice that had spoken before repeated, "Empathy test phase 2 initiated. Human colony communication disabled." Inside a chamber filled with blue light, alien figures watched Ethan's home through a holographic screen. One of them spoke in a language made of echoes and clicks. The human shows connection. We proceed. On the ground, Ethan stepped outside, looking up at the now starless sky. The moons were gone behind a... The next day began with confusion across New Dawn Colony. No signals, no calls, no broadcasts. Every radio was dead. Every satellite uplink silent. The colony, once noisy and alive, had gone quiet. Unnaturally quiet. Ethan Cole sat by his workbench, staring at his dead communicator. The little screen flashed one red symbol. No connection. He tried again. Nothing. Even the backup channels were gone. Riley Tan ran into the workshop, face pale. "You seeing this? Everything's down. Comms, sensors, even weather control." Ethan nodded slowly. "Maybe a system failure." Riley shook his head. "It's not just here. Every outpost around the ridge is blacked out too. It's like someone cut us off from the rest of the system." Outside, people gathered in the streets, talking in nervous voices. Some said it was a solar storm. Others whispered about sabotage. A few even blamed aliens. Ethan felt a chill. He remembered the creature's words from last night. They watch. They test. He excused himself from the workshop and walked quickly home, heart pounding harder with every step. When he reached his small metal house, the door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the air felt charged like static before lightning. The creature was sitting near the wall again, eyes dim, skin duller than before. Ethan knelt down. "Hey, you okay?" The creature looked up weakly. The silence. "It spreads," Ethan frowned. "You mean the blackout?" It nodded slowly. "They do this when they decide." "Decide what?" "Who survives?" Ethan froze. "What do you mean?" The creature touched the side of its neck, where the small metal chip was still embedded under its skin. "They use these to see, to listen." Ethan leaned closer. "You mean they've been tracking you?" The creature nodded again. "Tracking everything I touch. Including..." He stood up fast, panic flashing in his eyes. "Then they know about me?" "They know your name, your face, your heart," the creature said softly. "And they are not kind." Ethan stepped back, breath shaky. "Why? What do they want?" "To test your kind," it whispered. "To see if humans still feel mercy." Ethan ran a hand through his hair, trying to understand. "Still feel mercy? What kind of test is this?" "The last one," the creature said. "Before they decide your world's fate." Outside, the wind grew stronger. Metal panels rattled. From somewhere far beyond the horizon, a deep sound echoed, like a ship's thruster burning through the sky. Ethan moved to the window. "Is that them?" The creature nodded. Their eyes open. Ethan squinted. The sky above shimmered faintly like a curtain of glass rippling. For a moment, he saw something, huge shapes, transparent and silent, hovering beyond the clouds. He whispered, "Those aren't clouds." Then just as quickly, they vanished. Later that evening, Ethan decided to remove the chip. He prepared a small cutting tool from his workbench. "If this thing is tracking you, we need to get it out." The creature's eyes widened. "It will call them." Ethan hesitated. "Call them?" "It will scream," it said. "But if we don't, they find us anyway." Ethan took a breath. "All right. I'll be quick." He knelt beside it and activated the small blade. The chip was tiny, glowing faintly beneath the creature's skin. With careful precision, he cut around it and pulled it free. The moment the chip left its body, a high-pitched pulse filled the room, sharp, painful. Electronica. Ethan dropped the chip onto the floor, covering his ears. The creature screamed, the light under its skin flaring bright blue for a second, then fading. Then, silence again. Ethan gasped for breath. The chip on the floor began to blink faster and faster, sending out invisible data bursts into the sky. From orbit, dozens of alien sensors lit up red. A metallic voice echoed inside the alien ship. "Unauthorized interference detected. Target signal restored." Human interaction confirmed. Prepare retrieval. Ethan looked up, sweat on his forehead. What did we just do? The creature trembled, eyes wide. You called them. He grabbed the chip and threw it into his tool furnace. The small device melted instantly, but it was too late. Outside, the night sky was changing again. The moons disappeared behind thick gray mist. Strange lights shimmered high above, silent, moving fast. Riley called on the local radio frequency, static cutting his words. Ethan, are you there? Something's the sky there, then silence. The signal died mid-sentence. Ethan ran outside. The streets were empty now. People had gone into their homes, locking doors, closing shutters. The colony felt abandoned, wrapped in an unnatural quiet. He looked up and saw them, massive black shapes drifting across the night. Not ships in the usual sense, more like shadows with light glowing beneath their surfaces. Silent, watching. Ethan whispered, They're really here. The creature moved to the doorway, barely able to stand. They see us. You should run. Ethan shook his head. No, I'm not leaving you. Its eyes flickered weakly. Humans always say that. Far above, inside one of the alien vessels, the observers watched him through a glowing display. A mechanical voice repeated its report. Human subject shows continued empathy response. No aggression detected. Proceed to next phase. Physical encounter. Another voice, deeper, colder, responded. Deploy the probe. Let us see how far his mercy goes. Back on the ground, Ethan heard a strange sound, like air tearing open. A small metallic pod crashed into the dirt just outside his house, smoke rising from its surface. Ethan stepped closer cautiously. The creature behind him whispered, Don't. The pod opened with a hiss, revealing a small machine, a drone, insect-like, with red scanning lights and rotating arms. Ethan froze. The drone turned its lens toward him. A voice came from it, not human, not alien, something in between. Ethan Cole, you have interfered with Observation Unit 47. You have shown empathy. Explain. Ethan's heart pounded. Explain? I just helped someone who was hurt. Clarify reason, the drone demanded. Why risk infection? Why defy fear? Ethan looked at it, anger rising. Because that's what people should do. The drone stayed silent for a few seconds. Then it spoke again. Response recorded. The next decision will be made above. The drone folded its arms and shot upward into the dark sky. Gone in seconds. Ethan stood there, trembling, the creature beside him breathing heavily. He looked up once more, but the sky was completely black now. No stars, no moons, only silence. The next day, New Dawn Colony woke to silence and fear. No one went to work. The market stayed closed. Every radio tower was still dead, and the colony's skies remained covered in strange gray clouds. Rumors spread quickly. Some said pirates had cut their communication lines. Others whispered that Earth had fallen, and they were on their own. But a few, those who saw the shapes in the sky, spoke in frightened voices about ships that weren't human. Ethan Cole didn't sleep at all that night. He kept checking the sky through the window, waiting for something to happen. The strange creature he had saved lay weakly on a blanket near the wall, breathing slowly. Its faint blue glow dimmer now. When the first knock came at his door that morning, Ethan's heart almost stopped. He opened it carefully. Outside stood 2 colony security officers. One of them, a tall woman named Captain Mara Holt, looked serious. Ethan Cole? She asked. He nodded. Yeah, what's this about? We had reports that something crashed near your sector last night, she said. A drone of unknown origin. You see anything? Ethan froze. His mind raced. If he told them the truth, they might take the creature. If he lied, they might find out anyway. He forced a calm tone. Just heard some noise. Didn't see anything. Mara stared at him for a long second, then nodded slowly. If you do, report it. The council wants all unusual activity logged. They turned and left. Ethan closed the door quickly and leaned against it, his pulse racing. The creature watched him silently. They're looking for you, Ethan whispered. The creature nodded faintly. They always look. For survivors, Ethan frowned. Survivors of what? Before it could answer, the room trembled. The lights flickered and the sound of distant thunder or engines rumbled across the sky. Ethan ran to the window and froze. Something huge was breaking through the clouds. A massive alien vessel, smooth and silver, shaped like a crescent moon, appeared above the colony. It wasn't attacking. It was just hovering, silent and still. Screams echoed outside. People ran for shelters. Children cried. Alarms wailed across the streets. Ethan's communicator suddenly turned on for the first time in days. A voice filled the air, metallic, calm, and cold. People of New Dawn Colony, remain calm. You are under observation. Do not resist. The message repeated again and again, echoing through every speaker in the colony. At the colony's main square, a bright blue beam of light descended from the sky and touched the ground. A figure began to form inside it. Tall, armored alien. The crowd screamed and backed away, but the figure raised a hand in a gesture of peace. Its voice came through the speakers again. We mean no harm. We are the observers. You have been chosen for evaluation. From his home, Ethan watched through the window. He felt the creature trembling beside him. Its faint voice whispered, "Not all who come mean peace." What do you mean? Ethan asked. The Watchers are many, it said. Some study, some judge, and some destroy. Ethan's stomach tightened. And which one are these? Before it could answer, another thunderous roar shook the ground. Another fleet appeared in the sky, darker ships, heavier, angular. They looked nothing like the smooth silver observers. Ethan's eyes widened. Wait, there's two fleets? The creature's voice shook. They are not the same. The second does not believe in mercy. Above. Ethan couldn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lyra's face and the creature's bright eyes filled with fear and something else. Trust. He sat by his small window, watching the silent stars. The colony was quiet, too quiet. Even the night breeze felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. He looked at his communicator again. The message he had found earlier still glowed faintly. Observation team, human empathy confirmed. Begin next phase. He had no idea who sent it. No one on the colony had this kind of technology. It looked alien. Lyra, he whispered, turning toward the small couch where the creature rested. She was asleep, breathing softly. Her wounds had started to heal, thanks to human medicine. Ethan had even made a translator band for her, a small device that could learn her language through sound patterns. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. When she woke up, she looked stronger. Her glowing eyes blinked at him. You stay. Help. Ethan smiled faintly. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. She tilted her head. You kind. Before Ethan could answer, the ground shook. The entire house trembled, and alarms screamed across the colony. Outside, people shouted. Lights flickered in the distance, blue and white beams tearing across the night sky. Ethan ran to the door and froze. A massive ship hung above the colony. It wasn't human. Its hull shimmered with strange energy, and thousands of small drones poured out like silver insects. By God, he whispered. Lyra gasped. No, they found me. Ethan turned to her. Who found you? She looked terrified. The Watchers. They test kindness. You help. Now they come for you too. Ethan's heart raced. Test kindness? What are you talking about? She shook her head, backing away. They watch species. They fear compassion. They say it spreads too fast. The door suddenly exploded inward. Drones swarmed in, silent, cold, metallic. They surrounded Ethan and Lyra, red lights flashing across their bodies. A mechanical voice spoke from above, echoing through the colony speakers. Human Ethan Cole, confirmed empathic response. Subject will be taken for analysis. Ethan shouted, You're not taking her. He grabbed his welding torch, the only tool he had, and swung it at the nearest drone. The torch flared bright blue, melting through its armor. The machine crashed to the ground, but there were too many. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes glowing bright now, brighter than before. A pulse of blue energy burst from her, knocking back the drones. Ethan covered his face as the blast shook the air. When he looked again, the drones were scattered, and Lyra stood weakly, trembling. I protect you, she whispered before collapsing. Ethan caught her before she hit the floor. Stay with me, Lyra, please. Outside, more drones landed, sealing off the streets. Human soldiers were trying to fight back, but the enemy technology was too advanced. Ethan's communicator buzzed again. A new message appeared. Do not resist. Humanity has been chosen for observation. He felt anger burn through his fear. Observation? Chosen? Like they were lab rats? He looked up at the dark sky, where the alien ship loomed, watching everything. He whispered through gritted teeth, "If they're watching, then they'll see what happens when humans fight back." He carried Lyra to his workshop, sealed the doors, and began pulling out his tools, the same ones he used to fix old ships. "Hang on," he muttered. "You saved me. Now I'll save you." Through the cracked window, the alien ship's lights grew brighter, a storm forming in the stars. Ethan didn't know it yet, but the entire galaxy was watching this small human, a mechanic with no army, no weapons, and no power. And what he would do next, it would change everything. The sky over the human colony burned blue and silver. Alien drones circled above like vultures, scanning the streets, searching for one man, Ethan Cole. Inside his small workshop, Ethan worked fast. Sparks flashed around him as he tore apart old engines, welding plates, and wiring circuits. Lyra lay nearby, weak but alive, her glowing eyes half open. "You shouldn't fight them," she whispered softly. "They always win." Ethan didn't stop. Then maybe it's time they lose once. He connected the final cable to a pulse coil, a device he had designed to power ships. Now, it would do something else. Outside, loudspeakers blared again. "Ethan Cole, surrender. Humanity will not be harmed if you comply." Ethan looked up at the ceiling. "They always say that before they burn everything." He turned to Lyra. "If this works, it'll fry every drone in a 2-kilometer range. After that, we run." Lyra's voice trembled. "You'll die." He smiled sadly. "Yeah, maybe. But I'd rather die free than live as a test subject." A flash of light hit the window. The aliens had found him. The workshop doors ripped open, and a dozen drones floated in. Red lights aimed directly at him. Ethan slammed the power switch. The pulse coil screamed. A burst of white-blue energy filled the room. Every drone froze midair. Their lights flickered and died. Outside, the entire colony went dark as a wave of energy rolled out, knocking the alien ship's lower shields offline. Lyra gasped. "You did it!" Ethan smiled weakly, smoke rising from the machine. "Not yet. They'll send more." Above the colony, the massive ship's engines roared, shaking the ground. But something strange was happening. Every galactic outpost, every watcher satellite, every listening probe began to transmit. Images of Ethan appeared across the galaxy. Millions of alien eyes saw him. A human standing beside a wounded alien, defying an empire that claimed to control compassion. The watchers didn't understand. They had observed thousands of species, but none like this. Humans didn't act out of duty or programming. They acted from heart. Across alien worlds, whispers began. Why would a human protect something that isn't his own? What if empathy is power? Maybe that's what makes them dangerous. Back, on the colony, the alien ship started charging a massive weapon. The ground shook again. Ethan grabbed Lyra and ran outside. The streets were empty, lit only by the flicker of broken drones. He looked up. "They're going to fire." Lyra closed her eyes, whispering something in her language. A plea, a signal. Her body glowed again, brighter this time. Ethan shielded his eyes. A beam of blue light shot upward from her, straight into the alien ship. The massive vessel paused mid-fire. The blue light spread across its hull like veins of lightning. And then, one by one, its systems shut down. The ship drifted silently, dead in orbit. Ethan stared in disbelief. "What did you do?" Lyra opened her eyes slowly. "They made me a weapon, to test others. But you changed that. You changed me." She reached for his hand. Now, they know. Before Ethan could speak, her body shimmered and vanished, disintegrating into glowing dust that rose into the sky, forming a faint, beautiful aurora above the colony. The alien ship began to break apart, pieces burning as they fell through the atmosphere. Ethan dropped to his knees, watching the lights fade. Goodbye, Lyra. Then his communicator beeped again. A message appeared, not from the Watchers, but from across space. This is the Coalition of Free Worlds. We saw what you did. Humanity is not alone. He looked up, eyes wide. For the first time in history, the galaxy wasn't watching humanity as an experiment, but as an equal, or maybe even a threat. Epilogue. Weeks later, the story of Ethan Cole spread across every world. The Watchers vanished into the void, their network silent. Humans, once ignored and underestimated, had shown something the galaxy couldn't explain: empathy as strength. And in the silence that followed, one truth remained. The galaxy had been watching, but now it was afraid.